What's up, everybody? Your armchair quarterbacks here for another week 9 preview. On this one, we have 1, 2 third rounders plus Rams versus Cup My Team into Pieces. That is Johnson versus Daniel. Taking a look at Johnson's team here, currently he's starting Trevor Lawrence on a bye week, AJ Brown, Tyler Lockett, Antonio Gibson, Raheem Mostert, Gerald Everett, Chris Godwin, and DeAndre Hopkins. So first of all, we got to address the bye week here. You got to pick somebody up. We talked about the same thing with Alex's team. He's also got a quarterback on bye week. So you do have some options here. Derek Carr, CJ Stroud. Those are Shawn's favorites there. Derek Carr would definitely be a good pickup there. You have some options here. So take a look and see who's playing. Try to read up on some of the Twitter reports and the team reports to see who they're looking at starting. But besides that, what else do you see with Johnson's team?
Obviously his ace in the hole has been AJ Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that fares. Dallas looked really good last week. Their defense, even with the injuries, looked really solid. So we'll see if that affects Jalen Hurts at all. I know he was dealing with was a leg injury?
A knee
of
injury.
Some sort. It was a knee.
He had a knee brace on the last game.
Yeah, so even if he's still good to go, it's just something that's kind of lingering there. That might affect his side-to-side mobility. He might not be as prone to come out of the pocket to run on the outside of the field. So we'll see how that. Not a fan of Gibson here. Gibson for me was droppable several weeks ago. But the waiver wire is pretty sparse for running backs, so
very sparse.
You kind of do what you got to do.
Yeah, and we were talking about it. I see why he started Gibson, because that's pretty much his only other running back with ETN on bye. Taking a look at the waiver wire here: Royce Freeman, Justice Hall, Joshua Kelly, Jerick McKinnon, Jeff Wilson, Kenny Gainwell, Chase Edmonds, Keontae Ingram. Pretty much just a whole bunch of backups that aren't really getting any playing time. I think your best bet there, Johnson, is, especially right now with our trade deadline not up yet, try to package a trade somewhere. You might have to move some pieces that you don't want to move, maybe a Gabe Davis or a Garrett Wilson. But I think you need to make a move here, because you definitely need some to bolster up your running back depth here. Antonio Gibson, he's not going to cut it for you. He's going up against New England. New England's a very good defense already as it is, and Gibson's already also barely involved in the offense.
Yep, I like me my AJ Brown, so if you want to make a trade offer, hit me up. I'll give you all my running backs for AJ Brown. Let's see. Chris Godwin looks good, though, I would say. We already mentioned it, I believe, in the last video with Baker Mayfield. And, any knee issues, he's been dropping back and targeting Godwin a lot more. So that looks good there. I would actually say, looking at Johnson's bench, Garrett Wilson here, I would definitely throw that in, especially against the Chargers. That should be a good one right there.
Yeah, the Chargers have been pretty leaky on defense in terms of the pass game. And Zach Wilson's not the best quarterback, but he is targeting Garrett Wilson. So I think Garrett Wilson will do just fine, even if he only gets, say, 10 targets. On a team that's going to try to run the ball a little bit more, because they also have Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson will still get a good share of the targets there.
And I would say if you really wanted to do a trade, you're really good at wide receivers here, so definitely get rid of one of your wide receivers. Or what you could do is you could also package a trade and then maybe throw Trevor Lawrence in, because you already have Etienne here as your running back. It just feels kind of that negative correlation between the running back and the quarterback. So, I mean, if you could pull it off and find someone that maybe has a quarterback that you could do a trade and you could do a 2 for 2, a 3 for 2, look at something like that. Look at someone's roster and their need for their construction.
And the good thing with Etienne, at least, is it's not a great correlation having quarterback and running back on the same team. But Etienne has been involved in the pass game. So I think you're okay there if you decide to hold on to Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, definitely look at, and I've said this in a previous video. Don't look at trying to hold all of your players. Be open to trades. If you have a player, if you have somebody countering your offer and you think it's a fair deal, a fair shake, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's take a look here over at Daniel's team. Daniel is currently starting Joe Burrow, Chris Olave, Cooper Kupp, Zach Moss, Saquon Barkley, Jake Ferguson, Tony Pollard, and James Cook. First of all, I just want to say Jake Ferguson, that's a good pickup. I just think it's funny. He's getting around right now because I picked him up, you picked him up, now Daniel's picked him up. But besides
did I pick him
that,
up?
I thought you did. I don't know. Somebody else picked him up, I think. But either
I was
way,
going to pick him up, and he actually picked him up first because I couldn't before the Waller news came out. If I knew Waller was going to be out for multiple weeks, I would have picked up Ferguson on top of Trey McBride.
All right. So what are you thinking with Daniel's team here? What do you like with his team so far this week?
I'm gonna go off. So you mentioned Ferguson as his recent pickup. I was actually looking at Ferguson as a second just stash. But also I'll mention another pickup that he did this morning was pretty savvy. Devin Singletary down here.
Yeah, I saw
believe
that.
it or not, I have Damian Pierce in another league, and I dropped him today. Forgot who I dropped him for, but that's it. I'm off that bandwagon. So, looks like Singletary, at least he's getting worked in more. I think they even tried a wildcat with him a few weeks ago. So he's getting. I think it was him. He also had a pass attempt or a touchdown, a passing touchdown. They're. Damian Pierce is definitely being phased out there. It's not looking good. So Singletary was a good pickup there. Going back to the main roster here, the starting lineup. Definitely Joe Burrow he's been looking better. He says he's 100%.
Yeah, I said it in my recap that the Bengals offense coming out of their bye, they're looking a lot better.
Mm-hmm. So if Joe Burrow is now healthy, that helps everyone. If my boy T. Higgins is finally getting somewhat healthy, his target share went up, even with Tyler Boyd there, and then Jamar Chase. So they didn't trade anyone at the deadline. This is it for Cincinnati. They don't do this here. You're looking at maybe blowing up some pieces. They're probably going to let T. Higgins walk in the offseason since they didn't trade him. This is it. They kept him for this, last push, and so it's all systems go for Cincinnati here. Just like your question about your boy Puka Nacua, this is a pretty important one here with Cooper Kupp and not having Matthew Stafford. So. We'll see how this goes.
The footballers were also talking about it too. When Cooper Kupp came back from his injury, they were utilizing him differently than how they have in the past. The past couple of seasons when he's been really great, he's been short crossing routes, right up the middle, slant routes. But I guess this year when he came back, they started using him a little bit more with a deep ball. So I think especially Cooper Kupp, if they continue to utilize him in that fashion with the Matt Stafford injury, that's definitely going to affect him. Because if his thumb is injured. He can't grip the ball. It's going to be hard to throw the ball accurately, and especially throw the ball accurately deep. So I think that'll affect Cooper Kupp if they keep using him as the down the field guy.
Well, we'll see. I mean, this is all predicated in how much Brett Rippon is able to do.
Yeah.
Even when Matthew Stafford was there, it was, we were really lucky if you had any piece of this offense,
Yep.
or the first quarter, or the first half of the season before Stafford got hurt, and everyone thought, I was very low. Everyone thought that in the off season, we weren't going to see anything great from LA, and they actually overperformed, and now you have Matthew Stafford hurt. So on top of that, last week they actually looked like what I thought we were going to see all season, with that offensive line and no protection. So we'll see if they could even protect Brett Rippon at this point.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about Zach Moss? It seems like Moss and Jonathan Taylor are still not necessarily exactly 50-50, but it seems like they're still splitting the backfield there, maybe 60-40, 45-55.
Yeah. Even 60-40, Zach Moss has been pretty efficient with the usage that he's been getting. So, good for him if he's, let's see here, looking at his game log, even with his targets. Let's see. Okay, so his targets, not really getting targeted that much. I mean, he's just efficient.
Yeah, he's been efficient on the ground, which is something that has kind of hurt Taylor a little bit because he was more involved in the passing game.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's another interesting thing, is Taylor was being used more in the passing game. So even if Taylor starts being used more in the passing game, Zach Moss is still getting some goal line work. This is pretty interesting to see in Indy.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll just point out one more thing is Saquon Barkley. I forgot who I was listening to, one of the podcasts this morning, and what was the last game he got, like 30 plus touches,
36 rushing attempts for 128 yards, 5 targets for 3 receptions.
So I believe it was Adam Leviton on Established and Run. He was basically joking around saying, "Yeah, that's it. They have no one else on offense. They're trying to kill this dude." Basically, is what he was saying. They're killing this dude because you look at how bad New York's been for the past several years, and every season it feels like Saquon Barkley always comes up with his annual ankle sprain. So, I mean, 36 rushing attempts is nuts. For a guy that was coming back from that injury, we'll see how long he lasts before he gets injured again at that point. My Waller's out. They don't have anyone else. That line can't protect.
Yeah, I think Daniel Jones is kind of hit or miss right now to play. I don't remember if he's actually going to play.
It sounds like he's going to play, but I mean, was it one of the fantasy doctors, Jesse Morris, is saying it's like if he has, one of the disc in his neck or anything like that, he's risking a lot here to,
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I'm not.
And I remember too, especially because it's the same kind of neck injury he had before, and I think he had surgery for this neck injury, right?
I'm not sure, but anytime it's a neck injury, that's something you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
He's already made his money. I don't know if I would. The season's a lost cause anyways. I wouldn't jeopardize my health for this garbage team.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting matchup here. Shawn and I were talking about it. It's looking like the favorite is Daniel, even if Johnson decides to, like he should, stream a quarterback here this week. Average points wise, 15, let's say. Johnson's currently down by 30. The 15 points, that's only going to put him down by 15 instead. But Johnson's team is pretty sneaky. AJ Brown, Chris Godwin, DeAndre Hopkins, if Will Levis can continue to play at a high level, that's pretty sneaky. And then Daniel's
Garrett
team,
Wilson on the bench.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson. Daniel's team's got some struggles here with Chris Olave and Cooper Kupp. So this could actually turn out to be a pretty even and interesting matchup to watch. So
And Pollard. I mean, Philly has a really good run defense. We saw what they did. Who was it against my Mostert back before me and Johnson traded? So I mean, Philly is no joke on their front.
Yeah, and Tony Pollard also just hasn't been playing very well either. So it's a rough one.
He's coming off that broken ankle, and then now you have Mike McCarthy calling the offense. So you thought it would be more running with Mike McCarthy, but turns out it's a lot of, Dak and CeeDee Lamb. So he's not getting those outside passes.
Well, good luck to you guys. Good luck to you both. That'll be it for this Week 9 recap. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.